Welcome. This is a calm story. Tonight, we explore one of the mysteries of our world. You can listen with curiosity, or you can simply relax. There is nothing you need to do. Just listen, and let the story begin. In the early 12th century, a group of men came together with a purpose that was both simple and extraordinary. They called themselves the Knights Templar. At first, their mission was to protect travelers on long and dangerous journeys to the Holy Land, pilgrims seeking to fulfill sacred promises. They wore white cloaks, marked with a simple red cross, a symbol of both purity and devotion. Over time, they became much more than guardians of travelers. They were warriors, yes, trained in the art of battle, but they were also deeply religious, bound by vows of obedience, chastity, and poverty. Their lives were disciplined, quiet, and dedicated to something larger than themselves. They built castles, fortified towns, and networks across Europe and the Middle East. Yet much of their work remained hidden from ordinary eyes. It is said that their knowledge of secret paths, hidden treasures, and political influence was unparalleled for their time. Imagine, for a moment, a Templar knight walking silently along a moonlit path, the night air cool against his armor, carrying both sword and sacred purpose, moving through a world where the seen and the unseen often overlapped. Their presence was felt, even if never fully understood. And in the quiet of that ancient world, the Knights Templar left a mark that whispers through history, a story of devotion, secrecy, and quiet power. Far to the east, in the rugged mountains of Persia and Syria, another secretive group quietly shaped the course of history. They were known as the Assassins, an elite sect whose name still carries whispers of mystery and fear. Unlike the large armies of kings and emperors, they moved in silence, striking only when the time was right, carefully and deliberately. Their power lay not in numbers, but in secrecy, in patience, and in the fear they inspired. Legends tell of their leaders, who trained their followers in stealth, loyalty, and precision. Some stories speak of hidden gardens, quiet retreats, and secret teachings, places where the mind and the body were disciplined in ways ordinary people could never understand. Imagine the quiet of a misty mountain morning, the assassins moving unseen along narrow paths, their eyes alert to every sound, their presence invisible to those who walked by. They were a force that lived in the shadows, shaping events through subtle influence and careful strategy. Even today, the memory of their discipline and secrecy sparks imagination, reminding us that power does not always announce itself with banners and drums, but often whispers quietly, hidden from view, in the hearts of those who understand its purpose. In the early 15th century, a new kind of order emerged, one that blended loyalty, secrecy, and political purpose. It was called the Order of the Dragon, founded by Sigismund of Luxembourg in 1408. Unlike armies that fought openly on fields of battle, the members of this order operated in subtle, quiet ways. Their mission was solemn and grave: to defend Christianity against the growing threat of the Ottoman Empire, a cause that demanded both courage and discretion. Members of the order took oaths, sworn in secrecy, pledging themselves not only to fight, but to protect and uphold values that were larger than any one person. Their influence was often hidden, flowing like a silent river beneath the surface of European courts, shaping events quietly, without the clamor of public attention. Imagine a council meeting in a dimly lit hall, candlelight flickering across faces intent on careful decisions, their words measured and hushed. Outside, The world remained unaware of the delicate threads being woven behind the scenes. And in this hidden world, the Order of the Dragon carried out its work, a combination of faith, strategy, and secrecy, leaving a legacy that whispers through the annals of history, a quiet reminder that sometimes the most powerful forces are those we never see. In the towns and villages of medieval Europe, there existed a quiet, almost hidden movement of women known as the Beguines. From the 12th to the 14th centuries, these women devoted themselves to a spiritual life without joining formal convents or monasteries. They lived in small communities, often working, praying, and caring for the sick, their lives guided by devotion and humility. Yet, because they operated outside the official structures of the church, their practices were sometimes misunderstood, even viewed with suspicion. Despite this, the Beguines carried on with gentle determination, creating spaces of learning, care, and quiet reflection. Imagine walking down a cobbled medieval street at dusk, the soft glow of lanterns spilling across the walls of simple homes, where women quietly tend to their neighbors, offering comfort, counsel, and care. Their influence was subtle, yet enduring, touching the lives of those around them in ways that left no trace in the grand histories of kings and wars. In the stillness of those days, the Beguines created a secret rhythm of life, one built on devotion, service, and quiet strength, a gentle reminder that not all power is loud, and not all legacy is written in grand monuments. In the rolling hills and hidden valleys of southern France, a secret world quietly thrived. The Cathars, a Christian dualist sect, lived in a way that set them apart from the church and the rulers of their time. Their beliefs were considered heretical, dangerous even, and so they organized in secret, holding meetings and gatherings hidden from the eyes of outsiders. These were not gatherings of power or wealth, but of quiet devotion, learning, and faith, carried out in homes, secluded chapels, and the shadows of remote villages. Imagine a gentle night, the soft wind rustling through olive trees, while small groups of Cathars gather in candlelight, speaking softly, sharing teachings and prayers, their voices blending with the stillness of the world outside. For them, secrecy was not fear, it was survival, a way to protect their beliefs and each other. Their underground communities preserved knowledge, stories, and wisdom that might otherwise have been lost. And though many were persecuted, the memory of their courage lingers, a whisper of light in the darkness, a testament to quiet resilience, and the enduring human desire to follow one's truth, even when it must be hidden from the world. In the quiet corners of medieval Europe, behind the walls of monasteries and abbeys, there existed worlds that were hidden from ordinary eyes. Monastic orders, such as the Benedictines or Cistercians, often operated with a degree of secrecy that made them feel like small, secluded societies. Their lives were governed by strict rules, daily prayers, and long hours of study and work. Within these walls, knowledge was preserved, ancient manuscripts, sacred texts, and sometimes even scientific or philosophical writings that the wider world did not see. Access to these libraries and teachings was limited, granted only to those who had proven their devotion and discipline. Imagine walking silently through the cloisters at dawn, the soft echo of chanting filling the stone corridors, the morning light casting long shadows on the worn floors. Inside, monks copied texts, recorded histories, and passed down wisdom in careful, deliberate ways, almost as if they were safeguarding treasures of the mind. In this quiet, disciplined world, secrecy was not about hiding from fear or danger alone. It was a way to protect knowledge, to ensure that wisdom survived across generations. And in the stillness of these monasteries, one can almost sense the weight of hidden history, the quiet power of knowledge preserved in silence, patiently waiting for the world to discover it. Long before Freemasonry became known as a philosophical society, its earliest roots can be traced back to the medieval world of craft guilds. In the Middle Ages, skilled workers such as stonemasons formed tight-knit communities to protect their knowledge, their tools, and their livelihoods. These guilds were responsible for building cathedrals, castles, and bridges, structures that still stand today, quietly watching the passage of time. Because their skills were valuable and hard to learn, Masons developed secret signs, handshakes, and symbols, allowing them to recognize one another as trained members. Knowledge was passed down carefully, from master to apprentice, in a slow and deliberate way. Imagine the soft sound of stone being shaped at dawn, the steady rhythm of chisels echoing through a half-built cathedral, while knowledge is shared quietly, away from curious ears. Over time, these traditions of secrecy, symbolism, and moral teaching evolved beyond stonework, forming the foundations of what would later become Freemasonry. In this way, the legacy of medieval guilds lives on, not only in stone and mortar, but in rituals, symbols, and quiet traditions that continue to whisper of a hidden past. Within the medieval world of craftsmen and merchants, guilds were more than places of work. They were communities bound together by trust, loyalty, and shared tradition. Some guilds held private gatherings that outsiders never witnessed, secret feasts and quiet rituals where members came together away from public view. These gatherings were moments of connection, where oaths were renewed, disputes were gently settled, and important knowledge was passed from one generation to the next. Food and drink were often symbolic, chosen not just for nourishment, but for meaning, reminding members of unity and shared purpose. Imagine a long wooden table lit by candlelight, the soft murmur of voices echoing against stone walls, laughter restrained but warm. Outside, the town sleeps, unaware of the quiet bonds being strengthened within. These secret feasts created a sense of belonging, a peaceful rhythm within a world often filled with uncertainty. In these moments of calm fellowship, the guilds preserved traditions that could not be written down, traditions carried instead in memory, ritual, and quiet understanding. And as the night deepened, so too did the feeling of connection, a gentle reminder that secrecy, at times, was simply another way of protecting what mattered most. In the growing cities of medieval Europe, universities began to appear, places of learning where scholars gathered to study philosophy, medicine, astronomy, and theology. Yet even within these centers of knowledge, not everything was discussed openly. Some scholars formed small, secret circles, meeting quietly to explore ideas that were considered controversial or dangerous. Certain texts were forbidden, certain questions discouraged, and so curiosity found its way into hidden rooms and late-night conversations. Imagine a narrow staircase leading to a candlelit chamber, where a handful of students sit in thoughtful silence, listening as a scholar reads from a rare manuscript. Outside, the city hums softly, unaware of the ideas being whispered within. These secret scholarly circles were driven by a deep desire to understand the world more fully, to ask questions beyond accepted boundaries. In these moments of quiet inquiry, knowledge was not shouted. It was shared gently, carefully, like a flame passed from one candle to another. And in this hushed exchange, The foundations of future discoveries were laid, resting patiently in the shadows, waiting for a time when they could finally step into the light. Not all secret societies of the medieval world were vast or powerful. Many were small, fragile, and deeply tied to a single place or moment in time. These groups might form in one town, one region, or even around a single individual with a unique vision. Their existence was often brief, lasting only as long as the conditions that made secrecy necessary. When leaders passed away, or when persecution grew too strong, these societies quietly faded, leaving behind little more than rumors and faint traces in historical records. Imagine a small group gathering in a quiet village, meeting only a few times a year, sharing ideas, beliefs, or knowledge meant only for those present. Their conversations were hushed, their trust carefully earned. When the time came, they dispersed, returning to ordinary life, carrying the memory of something once shared. These short-lived societies remind us that history is not only shaped by great empires and enduring institutions, but also by fleeting moments of connection. In their quiet beginnings and gentle endings, they leave behind a sense of mystery, a soft echo of lives briefly intertwined in secrecy, now resting peacefully in the passage of time. As daylight faded in the medieval world, and the sounds of villages grew quiet, some secret societies chose the night as their time to gather. These were known as night assemblies, meetings held under the cover of darkness, away from watchful eyes. Night offered protection, but it also carried deep symbolic meaning. Darkness softened the world, quieted distractions, and allowed thoughts to slow and settle. Imagine a small group walking carefully along a forest path, guided by moonlight and memory, arriving at a secluded clearing or hidden room. Candles are lit, voices lowered, and the outside world gently fades away. In these assemblies, ideas were shared, oaths renewed, and rituals performed in calm, deliberate silence. The night itself became part of the experience, wrapping the gathering in stillness. For these societies, secrecy was not always about fear. It was about creating space for reflection, trust, and connection. And as the meeting came to an end, members would return quietly to their lives, leaving no trace behind, as if the gathering had been nothing more than a dream carried gently into the sleeping hours. For many medieval secret societies, joining was not a temporary choice. It was a lifelong commitment, sealed with solemn oaths that bound members forever. These promises were spoken quietly, often in candlelit rooms or sacred spaces, and they carried great weight. An oath was more than words. It was a bond of trust, loyalty, and silence. Members swore to protect the secrets of the group, even at great personal cost, believing that breaking such a vow would bring not only punishment, but deep spiritual consequence. Imagine standing in a quiet chamber, the air still and heavy with meaning, as an initiate speaks words passed down through generations. The world beyond the walls feels distant, almost unreal. From that moment on, the individual becomes part of something enduring, a shared identity that stretches across time. These oaths created strong, lasting connections, weaving individuals into a living network of trust and secrecy. And in the calm that followed the vow, there was a sense of peace, an understanding that some truths were meant to be carried gently, held close, and never spoken aloud, resting quietly within the heart for a lifetime. For some medieval secret societies, initiation was not marked by ceremony alone, but by a shared meal enjoyed in quiet seclusion. These initiation feasts were carefully prepared and deeply symbolic. Each food, each drink, carried meaning known only to those gathered at the table. Sharing a meal created a sense of unity, reminding initiates that they were no longer alone, but part of a hidden circle bound by trust. Imagine a long table set in a softly lit room, the flicker of candles reflecting off simple wooden bowls and cups. The sounds are gentle, soft voices, the slow movement of hands passing bread, the peaceful rhythm of eating together. Outside, the night remains still. Within, a new member listens more than they speak, absorbing the atmosphere, feeling the quiet weight of belonging. These feasts were not about indulgence, but about connection, about marking a transition from the ordinary world into one shaped by shared secrets and quiet understanding. When the meal ended, the initiate left not only nourished, but changed, carrying with them the memory of that calm moment. A beginning marked by warmth, silence, and trust. In certain medieval societies, secrecy was not something learned all at once, but something introduced gently over time. In some orders, the children of members were slowly initiated into the traditions of the group. This was not done through dramatic ceremony, but through quiet teaching, symbols, and stories shared as the child grew. Knowledge was revealed in layers, allowing understanding to deepen naturally with age. Imagine a parent walking beside a child through a peaceful courtyard, pointing out small symbols carved into stone, explaining their meaning in soft, careful words. There is no urgency, only patience. These early introductions ensured that traditions would survive across generations, carried forward by those who had grown up within the circle of trust. For these children, secrecy was not a burden. It was simply part of life, as natural as the changing seasons. And as they matured, the teachings settled gently into memory, forming a quiet foundation of identity and belonging, one that would guide them calmly through the world, always reminding them of where they came from and the unseen bonds that connected them to the past. In the medieval world, time moved slowly, and traditions often stretched across many lifetimes. Some secret societies were not formed for a single moment or purpose, but were carefully sustained across generations. Knowledge, symbols, and rituals were passed from parents to children, from masters to apprentices, like a quiet inheritance. These societies became living threads connecting the past to the present, each generation adding its own layer while preserving what came before. Imagine an elderly member sitting beside a fire, speaking softly to a younger listener, sharing stories that had been told many times before. The words are familiar, yet always meaningful. In this gentle exchange, history is not written, it is remembered. These multi-generational societies valued patience and continuity, believing that true wisdom unfolds slowly. Their secrets were not meant to rush forward, but to endure, carried carefully through time. And in this steady rhythm, these societies found strength, existing quietly beneath the surface of history, like roots deep in the earth, unseen but enduring, holding fast through the passing of centuries. In the medieval world, knowledge was precious, and not everyone was allowed to seek it freely. Some secret societies quietly controlled access to education, choosing carefully who could learn certain skills or ideas. This was especially true for subjects like medicine, astronomy, philosophy, and mathematics, fields that could challenge accepted beliefs. Instruction was often reserved for trusted initiates, taught in private spaces and shared slowly over time. Imagine a small room lit by a single candle, where a teacher and a student sit together in quiet concentration. A book is opened carefully, its pages worn by many hands, its contents meant only for those ready to understand. These moments of learning were calm and deliberate, free from distraction. For these societies, secrecy was a way to protect knowledge, ensuring it would not be misunderstood or misused. And in this quiet control of learning, ideas were preserved, refined, and passed on gently, waiting patiently for a future when the world would be ready to receive them. Not all power in the medieval world was displayed openly in courts or castles. Some secret societies quietly influenced local politics, shaping decisions behind the scenes. They met in hidden chambers or discreet homes, discussing matters that affected towns, trade, or law. Their words were careful, their influence subtle, often unnoticed by those outside the circle. Imagine a quiet evening in a medieval town. Lanterns glow softly in windows, the streets are still, and yet, in a small room tucked away from view, decisions are being made that could ripple through the lives of many. Through persuasion, counsel, and sometimes secret alliances, these societies could guide rulers, resolve disputes, or maintain balance within communities. Their power was not announced with banners or speeches, but carried in quiet knowledge, patience, and trust. And in this gentle, unseen way, they shaped the world around them, leaving traces that history might never fully reveal, yet whose influence quietly persisted in the rhythm of everyday life. Some medieval orders held more than spiritual or social influence. They sometimes possessed hidden legal authority. Within their own communities, they could settle disputes, enforce rules, and ensure that members acted according to the principles of the order. These courts and councils were quiet, private, and often invisible to the surrounding towns or kingdoms. Imagine a small chamber with worn wooden benches and a single candle flickering in the corner. Members sit patiently, listening, weighing words carefully, guided by traditions that have been passed down in silence. Outside, the world continues unaware, while inside, decisions shape lives, maintain harmony, and preserve the order's secrets. This authority was subtle, not about power for its own sake, but about safeguarding knowledge, protecting members, and keeping their delicate network intact. In this quiet enforcement, the order maintained its integrity, creating a balance between secrecy, trust, and justice. And in the stillness of these hidden councils, one can almost feel the calm, careful rhythm of authority exercised without fanfare, guiding lives through quiet, unseen hands. Not all knowledge in the medieval world was written down. Some secret societies preserved their wisdom orally, passing stories, teachings, and rituals from one generation to the next in quiet, careful ways. Words were spoken softly, repeated with patience, and committed to memory, ensuring that the lessons would survive even if written records were lost or destroyed. Imagine a small circle of initiates sitting together in a dimly lit room, listening intently as an elder speaks. Every word carries meaning. Every pause allows understanding to settle. The knowledge is alive, breathed into the present moment, carried gently in the minds of those who listen. In this way, the secrets of the order were protected, shaped not by ink on a page, but by human memory, trust, and care. And as the stories passed quietly from one person to another, they became more than information. They became a living connection, a quiet thread linking past, present, and future, holding the society together in gentle continuity. In the medieval world, even documents could hold secrets. Some secret societies used hidden watermarks on their letters, contracts, and manuscripts. Subtle symbols pressed into the paper or parchment that revealed membership, authenticity, or hidden messages. These marks were nearly invisible to the untrained eye, meant only for those who knew what to look for. Imagine a quiet scriptorium, the soft scratching of quills filling the air, as scribes carefully prepare a document. Only the initiated would notice the faint outline of a symbol, pressed gently into the page. It was a silent way to communicate, to protect knowledge, and to confirm trust without a word spoken. Such practices ensured that the society's work could move safely through the world, shielded from prying eyes, and preserved for those who were meant to understand. In this quiet attention to detail, there was a rhythm, a patience, and a sense of care that echoed the careful, deliberate lives of the societies themselves. And in the subtle impression of a watermark, a secret world rested quietly, waiting to be discovered only by those ready to see it. Within the Order of the Knights Templar, becoming a full member was not a simple matter. Initiation was a careful, private process, conducted in secret to protect both the individual and the society. The ceremony was quiet, solemn, and full of symbolism. Imagine a dimly lit chamber, shadows flickering along stone walls, the faint scent of incense in the air. The new initiate would kneel, listening to words spoken softly, pledging loyalty, obedience, and secrecy. Every gesture, every phrase carried meaning, often understood only by those who had come before. This was more than a ritual. It was a transformation, a moment when the ordinary world faded, and the initiate entered a circle of trust, tradition, and shared purpose. Outside, the world continued unaware, but inside, a quiet bond was formed that connected the newcomer to generations of Templars before them. And in that stillness, one can almost imagine the weight of history pressing gently, a soft reminder of devotion, secrecy, and the careful passage of knowledge through time. In certain medieval secret societies, initiation went beyond words and gestures. It involved a symbolic passage from one life into another. Some orders practiced what was called a death and rebirth ritual. This was not literal, but a quiet, deliberate ceremony representing the end of an old self and the beginning of a new one. Imagine a softly lit chamber, the air still, as an initiate kneels or lies down, eyes closed, absorbing the solemnity of the moment. Words are spoken, prayers whispered, and the initiate reflects on leaving behind fears, doubts, or old ways of thinking. Then, slowly, they are guided to rise, stepping into a renewed sense of purpose, fully accepted as a member of the order. This process was both spiritual and psychological, helping individuals embrace commitment, trust, and understanding. Outside, the world goes on as usual, unaware of the quiet transformation taking place. Inside, however, there is a profound stillness, a gentle rhythm that marks the passage into belonging. And in that calm, reflective space, the initiate carries forward the legacy of the society, quietly connected to those who came before, and gently ready to continue the work that lies ahead. In the quiet corners of medieval monasteries and mystical orders, meditation was more than a practice. It was a gateway to understanding the hidden truths of the world. Certain societies trained their members to sit in stillness, focusing the mind and opening themselves to insights that could not be found in books or spoken aloud. Imagine a single candle flickering in a darkened room, its gentle light casting long shadows across stone walls. A member sits alone, breathing slowly, letting thoughts drift and settle until the mind feels empty, yet alert. In this quiet space, symbols, teachings, and understanding seem to arise naturally, as if whispered by the world itself. The meditation was a form of secret study, a method for connecting with wisdom that had been carefully guarded by generations. Outside, life continued in noise and bustle, but within, the practitioner moved through calm, reflective hours, gathering knowledge that would guide action, decisions, and teachings. And in the gentle rhythm of breath and silence, there was a sense of peace, of connection, and of insight, reminding those who practice that some truths are discovered not through words, but through quiet attention and patient observation. In some mystical orders of the medieval world, mirrors were not just objects, but tools for reflection, both literal and spiritual. Members would use them in quiet rituals to contemplate themselves, their intentions, and the hidden truths of existence. Imagine a softly lit chamber, the glow of candlelight reflecting across a polished surface, doubling shadows and light in gentle patterns on the walls. A member sits before the mirror, eyes calm, breathing steady, focusing on what lies beyond the surface reflection. The mirror becomes a gateway, a means of seeing inward as well as outward, a silent guide to understanding one's own mind and the mysteries the order preserves. In these moments, the world outside seems distant, the busy life of towns and streets fading into quiet shadows. The practice was both meditative and symbolic, reminding initiates that clarity comes not only from observing others, but from careful attention to oneself. And as the ritual concludes, the calm lingers, a soft, steady awareness that some knowledge is revealed only in reflection, held gently, quietly, within the mind and heart. In the medieval world, some secret societies turned to nature itself to guide their meditation. Members would retreat to forests, riversides, or secluded gardens, using the gentle rhythms of the natural world to quiet the mind and awaken hidden understanding. Imagine standing in a peaceful glade, the soft rustle of leaves above, the faint sound of water flowing nearby, sunlight dappled gently across the ground. A member sits or walks slowly, attentive to every small sound, every subtle change in light, letting the world around them become part of their reflection. This was a form of quiet learning, a way to connect with patterns, symbols, and energies that the society believed existed beyond ordinary perception. In these moments, the noise and worries of the world faded, replaced by a serene awareness, a gentle feeling of belonging to something larger than oneself. Such meditations were private, shared only with those initiated into the order, allowing each member to grow in insight and understanding without distraction. And in the stillness of nature, the mind could wander freely, absorbing wisdom that could not be written, only experienced quietly in the calm embrace of the world itself. In some medieval secret societies, numbers were more than tools for counting. They were keys to understanding the hidden patterns of the world. Members studied numerology in quiet chambers, exploring how numbers could symbolize ideas, reveal cycles, or guide decisions. Imagine a dimly lit room, the soft glow of a candle illuminating a parchment covered with numbers, symbols, and carefully drawn diagrams. A scholar traces each figure slowly, considering its meaning, feeling the rhythm and harmony that lies beneath ordinary perception. Numbers became a language of the unseen, a gentle way to connect with wisdom passed down through generations. The practice was quiet, reflective, and deeply meditative, allowing members to slow their minds and notice connections that others might miss. Outside, the world continues with its noise and routine, but inside, the study of numerology creates a calm, deliberate space where insight unfolds gently and naturally. And in this patient, careful attention to numbers, a quiet truth emerges, a reminder that even the simplest symbols can hold profound meaning when viewed with care, reflection, and stillness. In the medieval world, the stars were more than distant lights in the night sky. They were guides, maps, and symbols for those who knew how to read them. Certain mystical societies practiced secret astrology, observing the movements of planets and stars to determine auspicious times for rituals, journeys, or important decisions. Imagine a quiet hilltop at night, the sky vast and sparkling above, with a gentle breeze brushing against the face of a solitary observer. They trace constellations with careful attention, noting patterns, shifts, and alignments, translating the heavens into guidance for the hidden workings of their society. This was not public knowledge. It was preserved carefully, shared only with those initiated into the mysteries. The practice was meditative, slow, and deliberate, offering both insight and calm focus. Each night spent in observation strengthened connection to a larger rhythm, a sense that the world and the universe moved in gentle, meaningful ways. And in that quiet reflection, beneath the soft light of the stars, knowledge unfolded patiently, like a secret whispered across centuries, waiting to be heard only by those willing to slow their hearts and minds and listen. In the quiet corners of the medieval world, some secret societies explored alchemy, not merely as a way to transform metals, but as a path to hidden knowledge and understanding. These experiments were conducted in secret chambers, far from prying eyes, where the air was thick with the soft smell of herbs, minerals, and the faint smoke of burning oils. Imagine a lone alchemist, carefully measuring powders and liquids, moving slowly and deliberately, each gesture precise and mindful. The process was as much about patience and reflection as it was about discovery. Every experiment, every small reaction, was an opportunity to learn, to uncover patterns, to glimpse truths that lay beyond ordinary perception. Outside, the world moved on, unaware of the quiet work unfolding in the shadows, yet inside, there was a rhythm, steady, thoughtful, and deeply focused. In this careful study, the members of these societies cultivated both skill and insight, practicing secrecy not only to protect their methods, but also to honor the subtle, transformative nature of the work. And in the gentle unfolding of each experiment, one can sense a quiet wonder, a calm reverence for knowledge pursued slowly, carefully, and with patience. In the medieval world, knowledge was often hidden behind layers of mystery. Some secret societies practiced what outsiders called the occult, rituals, symbols, and studies that seemed magical or mysterious. But in reality, many of these practices were early forms of science. Observing plants, metals, the stars, or the human body in secret allowed knowledge to develop safely, away from authorities or superstition. Imagine a quiet laboratory or study, filled with jars, instruments, and parchment, lit only by a single candle. A scholar carefully records observations, measures reactions, and traces patterns, all with slow, deliberate movements. To the outside world, it might have appeared as strange or mystical, but to those initiated, it was a way of uncovering truth. In this quiet pursuit, patience and observation were more important than speed or spectacle. Outside, life continued in noise and routine. But inside, time seemed to stretch, allowing insight to grow slowly, thoughtfully. And in that calm, hidden space, knowledge was nurtured gently, protected by secrecy, waiting for a future when it might quietly illuminate the world beyond. In the medieval world, the practice of alchemy was often more than a search for gold or potions. It was a journey of the spirit. Many secret societies framed their experiments as spiritual quests, believing that transforming metals or substances was a reflection of inner transformation. Imagine a quiet chamber filled with the gentle glow of candlelight, where an alchemist works slowly, methodically, observing subtle changes in color, texture, or form. Each careful movement, each small observation, is a step not only toward understanding the material world, but also toward understanding oneself. The process was deliberate and patient, a meditation on the harmony between mind, body, and nature. Outside, the world moves in noise and haste, but inside, the room is still, the air calm, and the work unfolds gently, with intention. In this quiet practice, knowledge, discipline, and reflection come together, reminding the practitioner that the true goal may not be the substance in their hands, but the growth of insight, patience, and understanding within themselves. And in this way, alchemy became a path of quiet spiritual discovery, a slow journey toward wisdom that could be carried gently within the heart for a lifetime. In the medieval world, some secret societies dedicated themselves to preserving the wisdom of the past. Hermetic societies, inspired by the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, carefully safeguarded knowledge from antiquity. Philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and mystical writings that might have been lost to time. Imagine a quiet library or study, shelves lined with worn scrolls and manuscripts, the air filled with the faint scent of parchment and ink. A member moves slowly between the rows, handling each text with care, reading, copying, and reflecting on its meaning. Outside, the world continues unaware, but inside, centuries of learning are preserved, quietly maintained in silence. These societies understood that knowledge is fragile, and that some truths must be hidden and protected until the world is ready to receive them. In this calm, deliberate work, patience and devotion were essential, and every action was a gentle act of guardianship. And in the stillness of these quiet spaces, wisdom was nurtured, held gently across generations, a hidden flame of understanding waiting to illuminate the future. In the late medieval and early Renaissance periods, a secretive society known as the Rosicrucians emerged, claiming to preserve ancient mystical wisdom. Their teachings were said to combine philosophy, spirituality, and practical knowledge, passed down in secrecy from earlier generations. Imagine a quiet chamber, the walls lined with books and symbols, the air still and heavy with the soft scent of candle wax. Members would gather slowly, speaking in hushed tones, sharing ideas, rituals, and knowledge meant only for those initiated into the mysteries. The purpose was not to dominate or control, but to guide, to cultivate understanding of the hidden connections between the self, nature, and the cosmos. Outside, the world went about its noisy, hurried routines, unaware of the careful preservation of wisdom happening within. And in this calm, deliberate space, every lesson, symbol, and practice was held gently, cultivated patiently, and passed quietly from one seeker to the next, like a soft, enduring flame lighting the path through centuries of mystery and reflection. In the medieval world, secrecy often extended to the written word. Some secret societies developed intricate ciphers and codes, ways of writing that could only be understood by those who were initiated. Letters, manuscripts, and even simple notes could carry hidden meanings, revealing knowledge only to those trained to decipher it. Imagine a quiet study, candlelight flickering across a desk, as a member carefully inscribes symbols and letters, each stroke deliberate, each pattern carrying a message hidden from ordinary eyes. Outside, the village sleeps, unaware of the subtle intelligence at work. This careful encoding was a way to protect knowledge, to ensure that powerful ideas, sacred teachings, or mystical instructions would not fall into the wrong hands. In this slow, deliberate practice, attention, patience, and trust were paramount. And in the stillness of these hidden writings, knowledge survived, quietly waiting for the right eyes to read it, gently preserved across time, a secret thread connecting generations of careful guardians. In the medieval world, buildings themselves sometimes held secrets. Certain secret societies designed structures with hidden meanings, embedding symbols and messages into walls, arches, and windows. Cathedrals, castles, and private halls were carefully constructed, so that only those initiated could understand the hidden language of stone and space. Imagine walking slowly through a grand hall, your fingers tracing carved patterns, noticing shapes and designs that seem ordinary, yet carry deeper significance. The light shifts through stained glass, revealing subtle symbols only visible at certain times of day. These architectural messages preserved wisdom, conveyed instruction, or reminded members of hidden truths, all while remaining invisible to the uninitiated. Outside, life carries on, unaware of the quiet codes within the walls. Inside, the careful observer senses order, meaning, and intention, a gentle connection between the maker, the space, and the secret society that dwells within it. And in this calm, deliberate construction, knowledge is embedded in permanence, patiently waiting for those who know how to read its subtle language. Within certain secret orders, music and chanting were more than art. They were tools for focus, reflection, and spiritual connection. Members would gather in quiet chambers, their voices rising and falling in gentle patterns, creating an atmosphere that calmed the mind and aligned attention. Imagine a dimly lit hall, the soft echo of a chant resonating against stone walls, each note carrying intention and meaning. Instruments, if used, were played slowly and deliberately, enhancing the rhythm of the ritual without overwhelming the senses. This practice helped initiates enter a meditative state, opening the mind to knowledge, insight, or spiritual understanding. Outside, the world remains busy and noisy, yet inside, the rhythm of sound creates stillness, a gentle pulse connecting those present to one another and to the traditions of the order. And as the music fades, a calm lingers, a quiet awareness of harmony, trust, and shared purpose, reminding members that even in silence, the echoes of these rituals carry softly through time. Not all secrets were kept in special books or chambers. Some orders hid their symbols in the most ordinary of objects: keys, cups, jewelry, or even clothing. A simple pattern, a carved mark, or a subtle design could carry meaning that only the initiated would recognize. Imagine holding a small pendant, noticing for the first time a design you had overlooked, understanding that it represents loyalty, wisdom, or protection within a secret society. These hidden symbols served as gentle reminders, quiet connections between members, and discreet ways of signaling trust or belonging. The world outside continued in its ordinary routines, unaware of the hidden meanings tucked within everyday life. For the members, however, these symbols created a soft rhythm of recognition, a calm reassurance that they were part of something larger, a living tradition woven into the mundane. And in the quiet observation of these hidden signs, one feels the patient care of a society that treasures subtlety, understanding, and the gentle passing of knowledge across time. Under the quiet light of the moon, some secret societies chose the outdoors for their most private gatherings. Hidden clearings in forests, gentle riverbanks, or secluded hillsides became places of reflection, ritual, and shared purpose. Imagine walking softly through the trees, the cool night air brushing your skin, the soft sound of leaves rustling underfoot. Members sit or stand in a circle, listening to the night, speaking only in whispers, moving slowly in rhythm with careful, deliberate gestures. These midnight meetings connected participants not only with each other, but with the world around them. The stars above, the wind through the branches, the steady rhythm of nature itself. Outside, the village sleeps, unaware of the quiet gathering in the shadows. Inside, there is calm, attentiveness, and a gentle awareness that some knowledge, some understanding, is best shared in the quiet and stillness of the natural world. And in these serene nocturnal assemblies, lessons are absorbed softly, lingering in memory like the soft glow of moonlight on a peaceful landscape. Communication among members of secret societies often required subtlety. In some orders, hand signals were used to convey messages quietly and safely, invisible to outsiders. A slight gesture, a position of the fingers, or the tilt of a hand could signal trust, recognition, or instruction. Imagine two members meeting in a crowded hall or along a quiet street, exchanging gestures that pass unnoticed by everyone else. Each movement is deliberate, practiced, and understood only by those who have been initiated. These signals maintained connection, ensured safety, and allowed information to flow without words. Outside, life carries on, full of noise and distraction, but within the careful exchange of hands, there is clarity, calm, and a shared understanding that transcends speech. In this subtle, gentle communication, trust is strengthened, and a quiet rhythm of interaction develops. An invisible bond that links members across time and space, carried softly in the language of motion. Amid stone walls and quiet cloisters, some secret societies cultivated hidden gardens, spaces where members could reflect, meditate, and learn away from the eyes of the world. These gardens were carefully tended, each plant, path, and fountain carrying symbolic meaning, offering lessons in patience, growth, and harmony. Imagine walking slowly along a winding path, the gentle scent of herbs and flowers filling the air, sunlight filtering softly through leaves. Members move deliberately, observing, reflecting, and sometimes quietly reading or discussing knowledge in hushed tones. The garden itself becomes a teacher, offering insight through its rhythm, cycles, and quiet beauty. Outside the walls, life continues in ordinary routines, unaware of the calm sanctuary within. Inside, time feels slower, deliberate, and full of gentle meaning. And in these hidden gardens, understanding grows naturally, knowledge is absorbed softly, and the spirit is nourished with the patience and care of centuries of quiet tradition. Beyond the public halls and town centers, certain secret societies preserved hidden libraries, spaces filled with rare books, manuscripts, and scrolls. These collections were protected carefully, accessible only to those initiated into the society's knowledge. Imagine a quiet room lined with shelves, the air heavy with the soft scent of parchment and ink. Members move slowly, their hands grazing the spines of old texts, opening pages with reverence, reading or copying in silence. Each book holds wisdom passed down across generations, insights that could be misunderstood or lost if revealed too soon. Outside, life continues with ordinary noise. Yet inside, time seems to slow as knowledge is absorbed deliberately, softly, and with intention. These hidden libraries became sanctuaries of thought, calm spaces where the mind could explore, learn, and reflect. And in the stillness of these secret collections, understanding is nurtured gently, quietly preserved for the right moments, waiting to illuminate the minds of those who enter with care and attention. For certain secret societies, clothing was more than decoration. It was a symbol of belonging, rank, and purpose within the group. Ritual garments, often simple but carefully designed, were worn only during private ceremonies or gatherings. Imagine a quiet chamber, soft candlelight illuminating robes, or tunics embroidered with subtle symbols that only members could recognize. Each piece carries meaning, connecting the wearer to tradition, to the teachings of the society, and to the generations that came before. The act of putting on these garments is deliberate and reflective, a moment of transition from the ordinary world into a space of focus and ritual. Outside, life carries on, unaware of the quiet significance of the fabric and symbols. Inside, the clothing serves as a gentle reminder of connection, responsibility, and shared purpose. And in wearing these robes, members feel a soft sense of identity, a calm assurance that they are part of a lineage of quiet devotion and careful preservation of knowledge, moving gently through the rhythm of centuries. Not every lesson required words. In certain secret societies, members spent hours in silent study and observation, learning through careful attention rather than instruction. Imagine a quiet room or secluded garden, sunlight falling softly across stone floors or leaves, while a member sits patiently, eyes tracing patterns, movements, or the intricate details of a manuscript. Every gesture, every subtle change is noted, absorbed slowly, without haste. This practice cultivates patience, focus, and understanding, teaching the observer to notice what might otherwise go unseen. Outside, the world moves quickly, full of noise and distraction, but within this calm, quiet space, knowledge is internalized gently, like water soaking into soil over time. Silent study allows insight to grow naturally, lessons to settle deeply, and understanding to emerge without rush or force. And in these long, deliberate hours of quiet observation, the mind becomes attuned to subtle truths. The rhythm of learning slowed and softened, creating a gentle, enduring foundation for wisdom. Buildings could speak, if one knew how to listen. Certain secret societies embedded hidden symbols into the architecture of their halls, temples, and meeting places, guiding members along paths of learning, reflection, or ritual. Imagine walking through a corridor, your fingers brushing over subtle carvings in stone, arches bending just so, patterns in floor tiles hinting at deeper meanings. To an outsider, these details might seem decorative, but to the initiated, each symbol communicates wisdom, direction, or encouragement. The light shifting through windows may reveal hidden signs only at certain hours, creating a quiet, meditative rhythm. Outside, the world continues unaware, but inside, The architecture itself becomes a teacher, a patient guide helping members navigate both the space and the knowledge it contains. And in this gentle interplay between stone, light, and symbol, understanding is shared softly, patiently, and without haste, leaving a lasting impression that moves quietly through the mind and spirit. Sound itself could be a secret language. In certain medieval societies, rituals included hidden patterns of sound, soft rhythms, whispered phrases, or repeated tones designed to focus the mind, convey meaning, or mark specific ceremonial steps. Imagine a quiet hall, the echo of footsteps barely audible, the gentle murmur of voices rising and falling in carefully measured intervals. Every note, pause, and repetition carries intention, helping members align with the ritual and the traditions it embodies. Outside, the world goes about its usual noise, but inside, the pattern of sound creates calm, guiding attention and thought in subtle, deliberate ways. These hidden auditory cues allow knowledge, instruction, and reflection to be transmitted without words, softly, slowly, and with care. And as the ritual unfolds, the quiet music of intention fills the space, leaving a lingering sense of focus, harmony, and connection that continues to resonate gently long after the sound has faded. Paths could teach as much as books. Certain secret societies designed labyrinths, carefully constructed mazes or winding pathways, to guide members through meditation, reflection, and learning. Imagine walking slowly along a narrow path, the walls rising gently around you, your steps measured and deliberate. Each turn, each curve, offers a moment to pause, to consider, and to absorb the lessons hidden within the journey. The labyrinth is not about reaching a destination quickly, but about the rhythm of the walk itself, the slow unfolding of thought, awareness, and understanding. Outside, life continues in noise and haste, but within the labyrinth, time seems to stretch, allowing the mind to focus, the heart to calm, and insight to arise naturally. And in completing the path, a member carries forward more than physical knowledge. They carry a gentle sense of discipline, patience, and the quiet satisfaction of moving through a space designed for thought, reflection, and serene learning. Stories were more than entertainment. They were vessels of secret knowledge. Certain medieval societies developed the hidden art of storytelling, passing lessons, wisdom, and traditions through tales that only initiates fully understood. Imagine a quiet room, dimly lit by candlelight, as a member speaks softly, weaving a tale of heroes, journeys, or mysterious events. To an outsider, it may sound like an ordinary story, but each word carries meaning. Each plot holds guidance or instruction meant for those who know how to listen. The rhythm of the voice, the pauses between sentences, and the subtle emphasis on certain words all work together to convey knowledge gently, indirectly, and memorably. Outside, life goes on with noise and distraction, yet inside, the story shapes understanding slowly, carefully, like water carving a path through stone over time. And in this quiet practice, listeners absorb lessons without effort, connecting to traditions, symbols, and insights preserved for generations, carried softly in the rhythm and flow of the tale. Music can carry wisdom quietly, without words. In certain secret societies, melodies and harmonies were used to preserve knowledge, encode teachings, or remind members of rituals and traditions. Imagine a dimly lit chamber, the gentle resonance of a lute or flute filling the space, soft and deliberate. Each note, each pause, is crafted with intention, carrying meaning that only those initiated would fully understand. Outside, the world continues with its ordinary noise, but within, the music becomes a teacher, a guide for thought, memory, and reflection. Members listen slowly, letting the rhythm settle in their minds, absorbing lessons carried in sound rather than text. In this way, knowledge could survive through generations, transmitted not by written records, but through experience, practice, and repetition. And in the calm flow of melody, understanding grows naturally, softly, and persistently, leaving a lingering sense of connection to both the society and the wisdom it seeks to preserve. Writing can be more than a way to record. It can be a way to protect. Certain secret societies developed unique handwriting styles, ciphers, and calligraphic forms to encode knowledge, so that only those trained in the system could understand it. Imagine a quiet study, a single candle flickering, as a member carefully inscribes letters and symbols on parchment, each curve and stroke deliberate, each spacing intentional. To an outsider, the page may appear as ordinary writing, but to the initiated, it reveals guidance, instructions, or wisdom meant to be preserved safely. This careful practice allowed knowledge to travel discreetly across distances and generations, without being exposed to those unready or untrustworthy. Outside, the world moves quickly, full of noise and distractions, but inside this quiet room, time slows, thought deepens, and understanding is transferred gently, patiently. And in each careful line of secret handwriting, wisdom is protected and nurtured, quietly waiting for the eyes and minds prepared to receive it. Secrets were often hidden in plain sight. Certain medieval societies embedded symbols and meanings into everyday tools. Knives, cups, pens, or farming implements, so that only those initiated could recognize their significance. Imagine holding a simple object, noticing a subtle engraving or pattern that seems ordinary at first glance, but understanding that it carries a message, a lesson, or a mark of belonging. These hidden symbols served as quiet reminders of the society's teachings, values, or instructions, gently guiding members through daily life. Outside, the world continues unaware, while within these small signs, trust, identity, and knowledge are quietly maintained. The practice requires attention, patience, and reflection, turning ordinary routines into moments of learning and awareness. And in this gentle interplay between the familiar and the hidden, the members carry the wisdom of the society with them at all times, softly and discreetly, like a quiet heartbeat guiding their actions through the rhythm of everyday life. Not all learning happened in open halls or crowded spaces. Some secret societies maintained secluded rooms, quiet sanctuaries where members could study, reflect, and absorb knowledge without interruption. Imagine a small chamber, lit softly by a single candle, filled with books, scrolls, and simple furniture. A member sits alone, reading slowly, taking notes, letting the information settle gently in the mind. Outside, the world continues in noise and haste, but inside, time feels slow, deliberate, and full of calm. These rooms provided a protected space where understanding could deepen, insights could arise naturally, and the mind could focus fully on the subtle lessons being passed down. In this quiet, intentional environment, learning is absorbed like water into soil, gradually, gently, and completely. And in the stillness of these secluded rooms, knowledge is not only preserved but experienced deeply, leaving a lasting sense of calm, connection, and understanding that carries quietly beyond the walls. Knots were more than practical. They could hold meaning, memory, and tradition. Certain secret societies developed intricate knot patterns used in rituals, ceremonies, or to convey messages only understood by members. Imagine a quiet room, the soft glow of candlelight illuminating cords being woven slowly, each twist and loop deliberate and thoughtful. Every knot carries significance, representing loyalty, trust, or stages of learning within the society. To an outsider, it might seem simple or decorative, but to the initiated, each knot tells a story, encodes instruction, or preserves sacred knowledge. Outside, life moves quickly, but inside, the careful formation of each knot creates calm, patience, and focus. And as the cord is completed, there is a quiet satisfaction, a subtle understanding that something enduring has been created, a gentle, tactile link connecting members across time, history, and tradition, quietly holding the essence of the society in every intertwined strand. Light itself can guide the mind. In certain secret societies, members practiced meditation using the gentle glow of candles, focusing on the soft flicker to calm thought and deepen reflection. Imagine a quiet chamber, the air still, shadows dancing slowly on stone walls as a single candle burns steadily before a seated member. Eyes are soft, attention drawn to the subtle movement of flame, inhaling and exhaling with deliberate calm. The meditation is slow and gentle, allowing the mind to settle, to observe, and to open to insight that words cannot convey. Outside, the world moves with noise and haste, but inside, the rhythm of breath and flame creates a quiet sanctuary. Each flicker, each soft shadow, becomes a teacher, guiding the mind toward clarity, understanding, and inner stillness. And in this calm, deliberate practice, the member carries the gentle awareness cultivated in candlelight into the world beyond, holding the tranquility and quiet wisdom softly, like a flame kept safe from wind and distraction. Still water can hold secrets. Certain secret societies encouraged members to meditate while observing calm pools, fountains, or slow-moving rivers, using the reflections to quiet the mind and deepen focus. Imagine sitting beside a small pond, the surface smooth like glass, catching the soft glow of moonlight or the flicker of nearby candles. The water mirrors the world above and within, inviting careful observation, gentle thought, and serene reflection. Every ripple, every movement becomes a teacher, offering lessons in patience, clarity, and awareness. Outside, life continues with noise and distraction, but by the water, time seems to slow, and the mind moves naturally toward calm understanding. Members learn to see patterns, subtle shifts, and hidden truths, not in haste, but through attentive, quiet observation. And in this gentle practice, the reflection becomes a companion, a guide, and a mirror for the soul, helping knowledge and insight settle softly within, like a calm ripple spreading quietly through the mind. Colors can speak in silence. Certain secret societies used specific hues in clothing, decorations, or objects to convey hidden meanings, marking rank, intention, or knowledge. Imagine a softly lit room where a member observes carefully the subtle shades of fabrics or painted symbols, understanding at once the messages they carry. A deep blue might signify wisdom, a muted red loyalty, and a soft gold connection to tradition. To the uninitiated, these colors seem ordinary, decorative even, but to those who understand, they are a quiet language, a gentle guide through ceremony, ritual, or daily practice. Outside, Life rushes by, unaware of the calm, deliberate communication happening in subtle shades. Inside, the colors create rhythm, focus, and reflection, reminding members of their place, their purpose, and the lessons passed down through generations. And in this soft, visual language, understanding moves quietly, settling gently in the mind, like light filtering slowly through stained glass, illuminating what was once hidden. Words can carry secrets when spoken carefully. Certain secret societies relied on oral codes, phrases, poems, or carefully structured speech to preserve knowledge and pass it safely from one member to another. Imagine a quiet chamber, the soft glow of a candle illuminating the faces of listeners as a teacher speaks slowly, each word chosen with care. To the uninitiated, the speech may sound like ordinary conversation, but to those trained in the code, it conveys teachings, instructions, or wisdom layered beneath the surface. Outside, life continues, unaware of the careful transmission taking place. Inside, attention is focused, every pause and emphasis a guide, helping listeners absorb and retain knowledge without written records. In this gentle practice, the rhythm of speech and the careful placement of words create a subtle, enduring method of learning. And in the quiet repetition and careful listening, understanding grows slowly, softly, and securely, passed from mind to mind like a hidden current flowing gently through time. Jewelry can carry quiet meaning. Certain secret societies used rings, pendants, or bracelets to encode messages, denote rank, or signify membership. Imagine a soft candlelight illuminating a simple ring, its subtle engraving almost invisible, yet carrying a story or teaching for those who understand. To outsiders, it is merely adornment, but to members, it is a gentle reminder of loyalty, tradition, and connection. Each piece is chosen carefully, worn deliberately, and serves as a quiet guide through daily life, signaling trust or shared knowledge without a word. Outside, life continues unaware of the significance carried in small, delicate objects. But inside, these symbols create a calm rhythm of recognition and belonging. In this subtle practice, attention, care, and understanding become a part of the wearer's everyday movement. And in the quiet presence of these objects, wisdom is preserved softly, always near, like a gentle heartbeat reminding members of the society's lessons and their place within its long, careful history. Movement can be a form of meditation. Certain secret societies performed silent processions, walking slowly through corridors, gardens, or halls, allowing members to focus, reflect, and connect with their shared purpose. Imagine a line of figures moving deliberately, footsteps soft against stone floors, the air still and heavy with quiet attention. Each step is purposeful, each pause a moment to consider teachings, symbols, or personal reflection. Outside, life carries on in ordinary noise, yet within the procession, time seems to stretch, allowing calm, focus, and awareness to deepen naturally. Silence is more than absence of sound. It becomes a tool shaping thought, attention, and understanding. In this gentle, flowing practice, members learn patience, discipline, and the subtle rhythm of tradition, moving together, yet individually absorbed in quiet reflection. And as the procession concludes, the calm lingers, a soft, shared sense of connection and understanding, gently echoing the lessons and the quiet wisdom of the society. Even the ground beneath one's feet could carry secrets. Certain secret societies embedded hidden patterns into floors and tiles, creating subtle guides, messages, or symbols for those initiated. Imagine walking slowly across a hall, the smooth surface cool beneath your feet, noticing shapes and arrangements that might seem ordinary at first. Each line, curve, or design is deliberate, a quiet language built into stone or ceramic, meant to teach, guide, or remind members of lessons and tradition. Outside, passers-by remain unaware of the meanings beneath their steps. Yet inside, these patterns create rhythm, focus, and reflection, allowing knowledge to unfold quietly in the mind. In this careful attention to detail, the society preserves wisdom, patience, and continuity, encouraging members to slow their pace, observe, and absorb. And as one moves across the hidden patterns, understanding grows naturally, softly, and gently, leaving a calm awareness of the subtle, enduring messages embedded in everyday surroundings. Knowledge could hide in plain sight. Certain secret societies used invisible ink to record messages, instructions, or teachings, ensuring that only those who knew the method could read them. Imagine a quiet study, candlelight flickering gently as a member carefully writes, leaving the text invisible to ordinary eyes. Later, the message might be revealed with heat, special solutions, or other subtle methods, uncovering wisdom carefully preserved. Outside, life continues unaware of the quiet, hidden words resting on parchment. Inside, the practice teaches patience, attentiveness, and careful observation, transforming writing into a gentle, secretive art. Each hidden phrase becomes a bridge across time and trust, softly connecting generations of members who understand its subtle meaning. And in the calm, deliberate work of creating and later revealing these messages, the society ensures that knowledge moves slowly and safely, quietly protected, like a soft whisper waiting to be heard by the right ears. The natural world could carry hidden messages. Certain secret societies used elements of nature, arrangements of stones, branches, or markings on trees, to convey guidance, warnings, or symbols of belonging. Imagine walking quietly through a forest, noticing a subtle pattern of rocks or the gentle bend of a branch, understanding instinctively that it marks a safe path, a meeting spot, or a lesson in patience and observation. To the uninitiated, these signs might appear random or decorative, but to those trained in the society's knowledge, each one communicates softly, clearly, and deliberately. Outside, the world moves with noise and distraction, yet within the careful reading of nature, members find calm, reflection, and insight. This quiet practice teaches attentiveness, respect for the world, and the subtle art of observation. And in following these hidden signs, wisdom and understanding move gently through the mind, quietly linking human intention with the rhythms of the natural world, like a secret melody carried softly through the trees. Communication could be almost invisible. Certain secret societies relied on subtle gestures, slight movements of a hand, the tilt of a head, or the positioning of fingers, to convey messages discreetly. Imagine a quiet hallway, two members meeting briefly, exchanging signs that seem ordinary to anyone watching, yet carry precise meaning to those who understand. Each gesture is slow, deliberate, and purposeful, allowing members to share information, reassurance, or instruction without words. Outside, life continues with noise and distraction, unaware of the gentle language unfolding in plain sight. Inside, the practice teaches patience, attention, and careful observation, creating a quiet rhythm of trust and understanding. And in these subtle motions, knowledge and connection flow softly, linking members across space and time, carried gently in movements that are both ordinary and extraordinary, quiet yet profound. Even simple stones could guide thought and reflection. Certain secret societies encouraged members to meditate with stones, using their weight, texture, and presence to focus the mind and cultivate calm understanding. Imagine holding a smooth stone in your hand, feeling its cool surface, its small weight grounding your attention as your breath slows. Some stones were arranged in patterns, placed on altars, or carried as tactile reminders of lessons and traditions. Outside, the world moves quickly and unpredictably, but inside, the stone anchors the mind, drawing focus inward and allowing insight to arise naturally. This quiet practice teaches patience, mindfulness, and the gentle rhythm of observation, connecting the member to both the physical world and the society's teachings. And in the stillness of this meditation, wisdom settles slowly, softly, and persistently, carried in the calm presence of a simple stone, like a secret held tenderly in the hands of time. Even the folds of fabric could carry meaning. Certain secret societies hid symbols within the way garments were draped, folded, or stitched, allowing members to recognize each other, convey rank, or signal intentions without words. Imagine a softly lit chamber where a member adjusts a cloak or robe, the subtle crease revealing a hidden mark only understood by those trained to see it. To outsiders, it is simply clothing, yet to the initiated, every fold communicates carefully preserved knowledge. This practice encourages mindfulness, attention, and the gentle awareness of detail, turning ordinary dress into a medium for quiet communication. Outside, the world rushes past unaware, but inside, these small signs reinforce belonging, trust, and continuity across generations. And in the careful observation of these hidden symbols, wisdom and tradition flow softly, quietly embedded in the very fabric of daily life, a secret language woven gently into every gesture and movement. Breath itself became a path to understanding. Certain secret societies taught members to meditate through slow, deliberate breathing, using the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation to calm the mind and open awareness. Imagine sitting quietly in a dim chamber or a hidden garden, feeling the rise and fall of the chest, the gentle flow of air moving in and out, each breath a reminder to focus, reflect, and slow the pace of thought. Outside, life rushes with noise and distraction, yet within this mindful rhythm, members learn patience, presence, and subtle insight. The practice is soft and gentle, creating a quiet internal space where understanding can emerge naturally. And in the simple, deliberate act of breathing, knowledge and calm settle deeply, weaving together mind, body, and spirit in a slow, tranquil harmony that lingers gently long after the meditation ends. Light could carry meaning without words. Certain secret societies arranged rituals so that sunlight, candlelight, or reflected light created subtle patterns, guiding members' attention or marking special moments. Imagine a quiet chamber or a secluded garden, soft light filtering through windows or leaves, falling precisely on altars, symbols, or objects. The movement of light across the space is slow and deliberate, a gentle teacher illuminating lessons, encouraging reflection, and connecting members to rhythm, time, and purpose. Outside, the world is bright and busy, but within this carefully controlled illumination, a calm focus settles, directing the mind toward contemplation and understanding. This practice teaches patience, observation, and appreciation of subtlety, revealing that even something as ordinary as light can carry wisdom. And as shadows shift and glimmers appear softly across surfaces, members absorb knowledge gently, letting it flow into thought and spirit with a quiet, enduring calm. Words could be stitched as quietly as they were spoken. Certain secret societies embroidered messages, symbols, or lessons into the very fabric of garments, drapes, or banners, creating a hidden language visible only to the trained eye. Imagine a soft candle flicker across a patterned cloak, subtle threads forming letters and symbols that carry meaning across generations. To outsiders, it is simply decoration, yet to those initiated, each stitch conveys knowledge, rank, or guidance, a quiet testament to patience and careful craft. The act of creating and reading these hidden inscriptions teaches attention, reverence, and the gentle flow of information without sound or speech. Outside, the world moves unaware, but inside, the careful observation of fabric becomes a calm ritual, linking members to the traditions and wisdom of their order. And in this subtle, deliberate practice, understanding settles slowly, softly, and securely, like a quiet heartbeat woven into the texture of life itself. Movement itself could teach patience and awareness. Certain secret societies used walking patterns, carefully measured steps along paths, corridors, or labyrinths, as a form of meditation. Imagine moving slowly, deliberately, each footfall light and attentive, following a rhythm that aligns the body, mind, and spirit. The path might curve gently, turn unexpectedly, or loop back on itself, encouraging focus, reflection, and a deep sense of presence. Outside, the world continues with hurry and noise, yet within this quiet practice, every step becomes a lesson in mindfulness and understanding. The rhythm of walking allows thought to settle, insight to arise naturally, and the mind to absorb lessons softly, without force. And as the pattern unfolds beneath your feet, awareness grows steadily, gently, leaving a lingering sense of calm, balance, and quiet connection to both the path and the wisdom it carries. Nature itself can carry a secret rhythm. Certain secret societies listened closely to sounds in the environment. Wind through trees, the flow of water, birdsong, or the soft rustle of leaves, and incorporated them into rituals and meditation. Imagine sitting quietly beside a stream, hearing the gentle ripple of water over stones, noticing the distant call of a bird, feeling the wind trace patterns across your skin. These subtle sounds guide attention, create calm, and help members enter a reflective state where thought and insight flow naturally. Outside, the world moves with haste and noise, yet within this attentive listening, the mind slows, perception deepens, and connection to both nature and tradition strengthens. Each sound becomes a teacher, each pause an opportunity for understanding. And in this quiet communion with the world, wisdom is absorbed gently, softly, and persistently, like ripples moving across a still pond, leaving a lasting sense of calm and subtle insight. Even the smallest details could carry meaning. Certain secret societies embedded symbols into the settings of rings, pendants, and other jewelry, making the placement of stones or the shape of a setting significant. Imagine holding a delicate pendant, the subtle curve of metal around a gem unnoticed by most, yet carefully crafted to convey rank, wisdom, or a message of trust within the society. To outsiders, it is simply beauty, but to the initiated, every detail speaks softly, silently, a gentle language of connection and belonging. This practice teaches observation, mindfulness, and appreciation of subtlety, turning ordinary adornment into a quiet tool for knowledge and reflection. Outside, the world continues unaware, yet within these careful designs, tradition and wisdom are preserved, flowing gently from one generation to the next. And in wearing or noticing these hidden symbols, members carry softly the society's teachings, like a whisper folded into everyday life. Even simple gestures can guide the mind. Certain secret societies used slow, deliberate hand movements as a form of meditation, allowing members to focus attention, calm thought, and connect with tradition. Imagine sitting quietly in a dim chamber or garden, the soft light illuminating hands moving gently, fingers tracing patterns in the air, or tracing subtle shapes on a surface. Each motion is intentional, unhurried, and reflective, helping the mind to slow and the body to settle. Outside, life rushes with noise and distraction, yet within this gentle practice, awareness deepens naturally, understanding arises softly, and a quiet rhythm unfolds. These movements serve as reminders of patience, discipline, and the careful transmission of knowledge, a slow dance of mind and body in harmony. And in the calm repetition of hand gestures, insight and tranquility grow steadily, gently weaving wisdom into the very rhythm of the practitioner's being. Even everyday objects could hold secrets. Certain secret societies carved or painted subtle signs into ceramics, cups, bowls, tiles, or plates, so that only those initiated would recognize their meaning. Imagine holding a simple cup, tracing your fingers over a pattern that seems decorative at first glance, yet carries messages of wisdom, tradition, or guidance. To outsiders, it is merely a household item, but to members, it serves as a quiet reminder of belonging, attention, and the gentle transmission of knowledge. These hidden symbols turn ordinary objects into subtle teachers, creating calm reflection and focus in everyday life. Outside, the world goes about its routines, unaware, while inside, members absorb meaning slowly and softly, letting lessons settle gently into memory. And in these quiet marks, wisdom endures, flowing unnoticed yet steadily through generations, like a secret river hidden beneath the surface of ordinary life. Shadows can guide thought as gently as light. Certain secret societies use the movement and form of shadows during meditation to cultivate focus, reflection, and calm understanding. Imagine a quiet chamber or secluded garden, the soft light of candle or sun casting slow, shifting shadows across walls, floors, or pathways. Members watch these subtle changes, tracing the patterns with their eyes or movements, allowing the mind to follow slowly, patiently, and intentionally. Outside, life moves quickly, unaware of the quiet practice within, yet inside, shadows become teachers, revealing the flow of time, the rhythm of thought, and the subtle truths hidden in plain sight. This gentle observation encourages patience, mindfulness, and insight, connecting the meditator to both the physical world and the lessons of the society. And in the quiet dance of light and shadow, understanding settles softly, slowly, like a calm tide reaching the shore, leaving a lingering sense of peace and gentle clarity. Music can hide messages in plain sight. Certain secret societies embedded codes within melodies, rhythms, or sequences of musical notes, allowing members to communicate or preserve knowledge through sound alone. Imagine a quiet hall, the soft echo of a lute or flute filling the air, each note carefully chosen, each pause deliberate. To the uninitiated, it may sound like a simple tune, but to the trained ear, it conveys guidance, ritual instructions, or lessons passed down through generations. Outside, life continues with ordinary noise. Yet inside, the music becomes a calm, deliberate teacher, engaging attention, memory, and reflection. This hidden rhythm creates patience, focus, and subtle understanding, allowing wisdom to flow gently through sound rather than words. And as the melody drifts softly through the space, insight and calm settle into the mind like gentle waves, carrying the society's lessons quietly and enduringly from one listener to the next. Secrets could hide where few would think to look. Certain secret societies wrote messages or symbols along the edges of scrolls, making them almost invisible to anyone untrained. Imagine gently unrolling a scroll, feeling the texture of the parchment, and noticing faint marks along its borders that convey lessons, guidance, or instructions. To outsiders, the scroll seems ordinary, yet to the initiated, the edges hold a quiet, deliberate language, passing knowledge safely across time. This practice encourages careful observation, patience, and reflection, turning even the act of reading into a mindful exercise. Outside, life continues unaware, but inside, every scroll becomes a teacher, offering wisdom softly and subtly to those who know how to see. And in the quiet attention given to these hidden writings, understanding grows gradually, gently, like ink settling into parchment, leaving a lingering sense of calm and continuity. Even simple chords could carry meaning. Certain secret societies wove intricate patterns into ropes, cords, or chords used in rituals, teaching, or communication. Imagine a quiet chamber, the soft glow of a candle illuminating carefully braided strands, each twist and knot deliberate, each pattern conveying lessons, rank, or guidance for those who understand. To an outsider, the ropes may appear ordinary, yet to members, they are gentle carriers of knowledge, subtle reminders of tradition, and quiet links to the society's teachings. This practice encourages focus, patience, and attentive observation, transforming simple materials into tools of learning and reflection. Outside, life continues in ordinary routines, but inside, each braided cord or patterned rope carries wisdom slowly, softly, and reliably. And in tracing these patterns with fingers or eyes, understanding settles gently, like the quiet flow of a river, leaving a lasting sense of calm, order, and subtle connection to the society's long history. Shadows themselves can guide the mind. Certain secret societies use the flicker of candlelight to create gentle patterns of shadow, helping members meditate, focus, and reflect. Imagine a quiet room, the soft glow of a single candle casting slow-moving shapes on the walls, floors, or objects. Members watch the shadows drift and change, letting their attention follow the subtle movements, calming thought and settling the mind. Outside, life moves quickly and unpredictably, yet inside, the gentle dance of light and shadow teaches patience, observation, and reflection. Each flicker becomes a quiet instructor, every pause an invitation to deeper understanding. In this soft, deliberate practice, the mind slows, awareness deepens, and insight emerges naturally. And as the candle burns steadily, the quiet rhythm of shadow and light leaves a lingering sense of calm, clarity, and gentle connection to the wisdom preserved by the society. Even solid stone can whisper secrets. Certain secret societies carved symbols into stone, on walls, pillars, or monuments, designed to convey meaning only to those initiated. Imagine running your fingers lightly over a carved pattern in a quiet, shadowed hall, feeling the subtle grooves that speak of lessons, tradition, or guidance. To outsiders, it may seem like simple decoration, yet to members, each curve, line, and symbol carries careful instruction and quiet wisdom. These carvings encourage patience, attention, and deep reflection, turning ordinary structures into slow, enduring teachers. Outside, life continues unaware, but inside, the touch and observation of stone reveal subtle truths, helping knowledge settle softly and gently into the mind. And in this careful interaction with hidden symbols, understanding grows steadily, quietly, and enduringly, like a soft echo resonating through time. Even the margins of a book can carry secrets. Certain secret societies use the blank spaces at the edges of pages to hide symbols, notes, or subtle instructions for members. Imagine slowly turning a worn manuscript, tracing the faint markings along the margins that seem ordinary to most eyes, yet convey quiet messages to the trained observer. To outsiders, it is merely decoration or scribble, but to the initiated, these marks preserve guidance, lessons, or traditions safely and subtly. This practice teaches attentiveness, patience, and careful observation, turning the act of reading into a gentle exercise of focus. Outside, life continues with noise and distraction, but inside, each hidden mark becomes a soft teacher, helping knowledge settle gradually and quietly into the mind. And in this quiet attention to detail, wisdom flows gently, like ink soaking slowly into parchment, leaving a calm, enduring impression that persists across generations. Even light can carry secret meaning. Certain secret societies etched or painted symbols into windows and glass, allowing subtle messages or guidance to be revealed when sunlight or candlelight pass through. Imagine standing quietly in a dim room, noticing a soft glow cast by colored glass, shadows forming delicate patterns on the floor or walls. To outsiders, it may seem decorative, but to members, each design conveys lessons, rank, or tradition in a silent, visual language. This practice teaches observation, patience, and reflection, turning ordinary light into a gentle instructor. Outside, the world continues unaware, but inside, the careful study of these symbols encourages calm focus, understanding, and the quiet absorption of knowledge. And as sunlight or candlelight shifts slowly throughout the day, the hidden messages emerge softly, allowing wisdom to flow gently into the mind and linger quietly, like a calm, enduring illumination of thought. Rhythm can calm the mind like a gentle wave. Certain secret societies used repetitive sounds, tapping, drumming, chanting, or other gentle noises, as a form of meditation, helping members focus, reflect, and enter a quiet state of awareness. Imagine sitting in a dim chamber, listening to soft, steady taps or the low hum of a chant, letting each repetition guide the breath and slow the flow of thought. Outside, the world moves quickly, full of distraction, yet inside, this steady rhythm becomes a quiet teacher, encouraging patience, presence, and subtle insight. Each sound is gentle, deliberate, and unhurried, helping the mind settle naturally into calm understanding. And in this soft, repetitive practice, awareness deepens slowly, knowledge and reflection flow gently, and a sense of enduring tranquility grows steadily, like the quiet pulse of the earth beneath your feet. Even ordinary furniture could hold secrets. Certain secret societies carved or engraved subtle marks into chairs, tables, or cabinets, allowing members to convey messages, indicate rank, or guide understanding. Imagine sitting quietly at a wooden table, running your fingers along a barely visible pattern, knowing it carries meaning invisible to untrained eyes. To outsiders, it appears as simple craftsmanship, but to the initiated, each mark is deliberate, a gentle signal of wisdom, tradition, and connection. This practice teaches careful observation, patience, and reflection, transforming everyday objects into subtle instructors. Outside, the world moves quickly and noisily, yet inside, each hidden mark encourages calm focus and thoughtful attention. And in this quiet awareness of the furniture around them, members absorb lessons slowly and gently, leaving a lingering sense of subtle understanding and serene connection to the society's enduring teachings. Movement itself can become a quiet teacher. Certain secret societies encouraged members to practice meditation through repetitive motions, such as folding, weaving, or slow ritual gestures. Imagine sitting in a calm chamber, hands moving gently and rhythmically, the repetition guiding thought and slowing the mind. Each motion becomes deliberate, almost like a soft mantra, allowing focus, patience, and awareness to grow naturally. Outside, life continues with its usual noise and hurry, yet inside, the steady rhythm of repeated movement creates a calm, reflective space. This practice teaches mindfulness, presence, and the gentle absorption of knowledge, turning simple, deliberate actions into instruments of understanding. And in the quiet flow of these motions, insight and tranquility settle softly, like sunlight spreading gently across a still morning landscape, leaving a lingering sense of calm and balance. Even the floors beneath one's feet could tell stories. Certain secret societies embedded hidden symbols in tiles, using patterns to share lessons, myths, or traditions with members who knew how to read them. Imagine walking slowly across a hall, noticing subtle designs in the stone or ceramic that seem decorative at first, yet carry meaning that unfolds in the mind like a quiet story. To outsiders, the tiles are merely beautiful or functional, but to the initiated, each pattern conveys guidance, history, or reflection. This practice encourages careful observation, patience, and attention to detail, transforming everyday surroundings into gentle instructors. Outside, life continues unaware, but inside, each step across the patterned floor becomes an opportunity to absorb wisdom softly, naturally, and without effort. And in following the hidden story beneath one's feet, understanding settles gradually, like water flowing into quiet channels, leaving a calm, enduring sense of connection to the society's teachings. Even the sense of touch could guide reflection. Certain secret societies encouraged members to meditate through gentle, deliberate touch, whether tracing patterns, holding objects, or softly connecting with the environment. Imagine sitting quietly in a dim chamber or garden, fingertips moving slowly over a smooth surface, a soft stone, or delicate fabric, each movement intentional and calming. Outside, the world rushes with noise and distraction, but inside, this gentle tactile practice helps the mind settle, focus, and absorb lessons with subtle awareness. Each touch becomes a guide, every sensation an invitation to patience, mindfulness, and reflection. This quiet, deliberate interaction teaches calm attention and the soft unfolding of understanding. And in the slow, deliberate act of touching with awareness, wisdom settles gently into the mind, leaving a lingering sense of calm, connection, and serene insight that carries quietly beyond the moment. Even above one's head, secrets could be hidden. Certain secret societies carved or painted subtle symbols into roof beams and ceilings, embedding lessons, guidance, or markers of rank into spaces often overlooked. Imagine lying quietly on a soft floor or gazing up in a dim hall, noticing faint patterns or engravings that seem ordinary at first, yet reveal meaning to those trained to see them. To outsiders, these designs may appear decorative, but to the initiated, they are deliberate messages, quietly guiding understanding and reflection. This practice teaches patience, careful observation, and appreciation for subtlety, turning everyday architecture into slow, gentle instructors. Outside, life continues unaware, yet inside, the ceiling itself becomes a quiet teacher, allowing knowledge to settle softly, gradually, and enduringly. And in the calm act of noticing and contemplating these hidden symbols, insight and connection grow gently, like a soft light illuminating a hidden path above one's head. Even simple objects could tell a story. Certain secret societies used everyday items, cups, tools, or trinkets, to convey hidden tales, lessons, or traditions to members who knew how to read them. Imagine holding a small, unassuming object, noticing the way it is shaped, worn, or decorated, and understanding that it carries quiet meaning beyond what is visible. To outsiders, it is ordinary, perhaps even mundane, but to the initiated, each object becomes a storyteller, passing wisdom softly, subtly, and deliberately. This practice encourages attention, patience, and reflection, turning ordinary possessions into gentle teachers. Outside, life rushes on unaware, yet inside, the careful observation and interpretation of objects allows insight and understanding to flow naturally. And in this quiet practice, stories unfold softly, settling gently into memory, connecting the present to generations past with a calm, enduring presence of knowledge. Even the entrances to rooms could carry secret meaning. Certain secret societies carved or arranged subtle symbols into doors, hinges, and handles, allowing members to recognize guidance, rank, or safe passages. Imagine approaching a quiet chamber, your hand brushing against a hinge, feeling or noticing faint engravings that seem ordinary to most eyes, yet speak clearly to those who understand. Outside, life rushes unaware, yet inside, these hidden symbols transform mundane structures into gentle teachers, quietly guiding attention, reflection, and awareness. This practice encourages patience, careful observation, and subtle understanding, turning everyday movement through a space into a mindful experience. And in the calm discovery of these hidden marks, wisdom and tradition flow gently, settling softly into the mind, creating a quiet connection to the society's enduring lessons and the rhythms of its hidden world. Breath and movement together can guide the mind gently. Certain secret societies combine deliberate breathing with slow, intentional motion, creating a meditative practice that harmonizes body and mind. Imagine standing or sitting quietly, inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly, while the arms, hands, or body follow soft, flowing patterns. Each movement aligns with the breath. Each pause encourages focus, reflection, and calm awareness. Outside, the world moves with noise and haste, yet inside, this synchronized rhythm allows thought to settle naturally, insight to arise softly, and the mind to enter a quiet state of understanding. The practice teaches patience, presence, and gentle attentiveness, turning simple actions into a subtle, enduring form of learning. And in the quiet dance of breath and motion, tranquility and knowledge settle slowly, softly, like gentle waves washing over the shore, leaving a calm, lasting impression. Even the walls around us could hold secrets. Certain secret societies incorporated hidden patterns into tapestries, paintings, or carvings on walls, creating subtle messages or lessons for members to discover. Imagine standing quietly, tracing your gaze along a mural or tapestry, noticing details that seem ordinary at first, yet reveal meaning to those who know how to see. To outsiders, these decorations may appear purely aesthetic, but to the initiated, each curve, color, or arrangement carries guidance, history, or wisdom. This practice teaches careful observation, patience, and reflection, turning the act of looking into a gentle meditation. Outside, life moves on unaware, yet inside, every wall becomes a quiet teacher, encouraging calm attention and gradual understanding. And in this soft, deliberate noticing of hidden patterns, insight settles gently into the mind, leaving a lingering sense of connection to tradition and the enduring lessons of the society. Even the pages of books could guide understanding. Certain secret societies used subtle markings, dots, lines, or tiny symbols, within texts to convey lessons, instructions, or reminders for members. Imagine turning a page slowly, noticing a faint symbol at the edge or between lines, knowing it carries knowledge carefully preserved. To outsiders, it may appear as a smudge or stray ink, but to the initiated, it is a quiet teacher, guiding thought and reflection. This practice encourages patience, attentiveness, and gentle observation, turning reading into a calm, meditative act. Outside, the world rushes by unaware, yet inside, each hidden mark allows wisdom to settle softly and naturally into the mind. And in this careful engagement with the written word, understanding flows gently, lingering quietly, like a soft echo across generations, connecting the reader to the slow, enduring knowledge of the society. Even the paths we walk outdoors can carry meaning. Certain secret societies designed gardens with hidden symbols, patterns, or arrangements of plants and stones, creating spaces that conveyed lessons, guidance, or reflection for members. Imagine walking slowly along a winding path, noticing the placement of flowers, shrubs, or rocks, and understanding that every curve, spacing, and grouping holds subtle meaning. To outsiders, the garden may appear simply beautiful, but to the initiated, it is a carefully constructed guide, teaching patience, mindfulness, and observation. Outside, life moves hurriedly, unaware of these quiet designs, yet inside, the garden becomes a living classroom, a gentle teacher leading the mind to calm awareness. And in this slow, deliberate engagement with nature, understanding flows softly, subtly, and steadily, like sunlight spreading across a peaceful landscape, leaving a lasting sense of quiet wisdom. Even simple stones can guide the mind. Certain secret societies arranged stones in specific patterns, circles, or alignments as a form of meditation, helping members focus, reflect, and cultivate calm awareness. Imagine sitting quietly beside a carefully laid arrangement, tracing its shapes with your eyes or fingertips, feeling the subtle order and rhythm within. Outside, life moves with haste and distraction, yet inside, these stone patterns encourage patience, attention, and gentle observation. Each stone, each placement becomes a quiet teacher, guiding thought and helping the mind settle naturally. This practice fosters mindfulness, calm understanding, and a subtle connection to tradition. And in the stillness of this engagement, insight and tranquility grow slowly, softly, and steadily, like a river flowing quietly through a hidden valley, leaving a lasting sense of balance and serenity. Even the fabric on the walls could hold quiet lessons. Certain secret societies wove hidden symbols into tapestries, embedding stories, guidance, or teachings for members to discover. Imagine standing softly in a dim room, letting your eyes wander over intricate designs, noticing subtle shapes or patterns that seem decorative at first, yet carry deeper meaning to the trained observer. To outsiders, the tapestries are simply beautiful, but to the initiated, they are gentle teachers, preserving knowledge and tradition without words. This practice encourages patience, careful observation, and mindful attention, turning everyday surroundings into spaces of reflection. Outside, the world continues unaware, but inside, each tapestry quietly communicates lessons, helping wisdom settle softly and naturally into the mind. And in the calm act of noticing and contemplating these hidden symbols, understanding flows gently, leaving a serene, lasting impression of quiet connection to the society's history and teachings. Light can guide thought as gently as breath. Certain secret societies use the reflections of candlelight on walls, water, or polished surfaces as a tool for meditation, helping members focus, calm the mind, and reflect on lessons. Imagine a quiet chamber, the soft glow of a candle casting delicate reflections that dance slowly across surfaces, creating subtle movement for the eyes and mind to follow. Outside, life rushes onward, full of noise and distraction, yet inside, the gentle play of light becomes a teacher, encouraging patience, mindfulness, and calm understanding. Each flicker and reflection draws attention subtly, allowing the mind to settle naturally and thoughts to flow gently. And in this quiet, luminous practice, insight and tranquility grow softly, like light spreading across a still morning, leaving a lingering sense of calm and clarity. Even the tools of a ritual could carry secret meaning. Certain secret societies etched or engraved subtle marks into wands, staffs, chalices, or other ceremonial objects, allowing members to recognize guidance, rank, or lessons without words. Imagine holding a finely crafted tool, running your fingers along a barely visible symbol, understanding that it conveys quiet wisdom preserved through careful tradition. To outsiders, it is simply craftsmanship, but to the initiated, each mark is a gentle teacher, guiding thought, reflection, and understanding. This practice encourages patience, mindfulness, and subtle observation, turning ordinary ritual objects into instruments of quiet learning. Outside, life continues unaware, yet inside, these marks allow wisdom to settle slowly and gently, creating a calm connection to the teachings of the society. And in this soft, deliberate attention, understanding grows naturally, lingering quietly, like a gentle echo across time. Even the steps we climb can carry meaning. Certain secret societies embedded hidden symbols into staircases, through carvings, shapes, or patterns, so that each step could guide reflection, signal rank, or convey quiet lessons. Imagine ascending slowly, noticing subtle curves, edges, or marks beneath your fingers or along the railing, understanding that every detail is deliberate. To outsiders, a staircase is simply functional, but to members, it becomes a gentle teacher, helping the mind slow, focus, and absorb knowledge gradually. This practice encourages mindfulness, patience, and careful attention to the world around us, transforming everyday movement into a meditative act. Outside, life rushes onward, yet inside, each step carries wisdom softly, steadily, and securely. And in this calm awareness of hidden symbols, understanding flows gently, leaving a lasting sense of quiet connection to the society's teachings. Even the smallest ledges can hold secrets. Certain secret societies carved or painted subtle symbols into windowsills, ledges, and small architectural details, allowing members to recognize lessons, guidance, or messages hidden in plain sight. Imagine pausing at a quiet window, noticing a faint design along the sill or ledge, seemingly decorative, yet carrying deliberate meaning for those initiated. To outsiders, it is ordinary craftsmanship, but to members, these hidden symbols become gentle teachers, quietly guiding reflection, awareness, and understanding. This practice nurtures patience, careful observation, and mindfulness, turning everyday surfaces into instruments of learning. Outside, life continues unaware, yet inside, every ledge carries knowledge softly and steadily. And in this calm noticing, insight settles naturally into the mind, leaving a lingering sense of connection to tradition and the subtle wisdom of the society. Even silence can be as meaningful as sound. Certain secret societies guided members to meditate by alternating between gentle sounds, such as chimes, taps, or chants, and complete stillness, creating a rhythm of listening and quiet reflection. Imagine sitting in a serene chamber, the soft resonance of a bell fading into stillness, allowing the mind to settle into calm awareness. Outside, life moves with noise and distraction, yet inside, this interplay of sound and silence teaches patience, focus, and deep introspection. Each pause becomes a teacher, each soft sound a guide, helping the mind absorb lessons naturally and gradually. This gentle practice cultivates mindfulness, calm thought, and subtle understanding. And in the quiet ebb and flow between sound and silence, wisdom settles slowly, softly, and gently, leaving a lasting sense of peace and connection to the quiet traditions of the society. Even the floors beneath our feet can hold quiet meaning. Certain secret societies arranged tiles, stones, or wooden planks in patterns that conveyed hidden lessons, guidance, or symbols for members to discover. Imagine walking slowly across a patterned floor, noticing shapes, lines, or arrangements that seem ordinary at first, yet reveal subtle meaning to those who know how to read them. To outsiders, it is simply decoration or craftsmanship, but to the initiated, the floor becomes a gentle teacher, encouraging mindfulness, attention, and reflection. This practice transforms everyday movement into a meditative act, allowing insight to flow softly and naturally. Outside, life continues unaware, yet inside, each step carries knowledge gradually and quietly. And in this calm, deliberate observation of flooring patterns, understanding settles gently, like water finding its way through hidden channels, leaving a lingering sense of connection to the society's wisdom and tradition. Even stories can carry hidden wisdom. Certain secret societies preserved knowledge, lessons, and traditions through carefully crafted tales, told softly to members who listened with attention and understanding. Imagine sitting quietly by a fire or in a dim chamber, as a storyteller's gentle voice unfolds a tale, each word chosen carefully, each pause meaningful. To outsiders, it may seem like entertainment or simple legend, but to the initiated, every story encodes guidance, history, and subtle teachings. This practice encourages patience, focus, and deep listening, turning storytelling into a meditative and educational experience. Outside, life continues with noise and distraction, yet inside, the quiet unfolding of these narratives allows wisdom to settle slowly, gently, and persistently into the mind. And in the calm act of listening, reflection grows naturally, leaving a lasting sense of connection to tradition, to knowledge, and to the quiet, enduring world of the society.